Arav sat on a broken bench in the middle of an old construction site, staring at the crumbling bricks scattered across the ground. His life, much like the ruins before him, felt like a collection of broken pieces: job rejections, failed ventures, and an overwhelming sense of self-doubt. He had left home with dreams of success but found himself struggling, lost in the vast city where ambitions drowned faster than they soared. As he buried his face in his hands, a hoarse yet kind voice pulled him out of his thoughts. "Thinking too much won't build anything, son. You need to start laying bricks." Arav looked up and saw an old mason, his hands rough with years of labor, standing before him. He was placing bricks on a half-finished wall, one at a time, with meticulous care. "What's the point?" Arav sighed. "Every time I try something, I fail. Everything falls apart." The mason chuckled. "Son, have you ever built a wall before? No? Then let me show you something." The old man picked up a single brick, placed it gently, and spread mortar over it with a practiced hand. "You see, a strong wall isn't built in a day. You don't just throw bricks together and expect magic. You focus on one brick at a time, place it right, and keep going." Arav watched as the man repeated the process. One brick. Then another. Slowly but surely, the wall took shape. "But what if a storm knocks it down?" Arav asked. The mason smiled. "Then we build again. Because, son, success is about persistence. The difference between a broken dream and a fulfilled one is the willingness to keep laying bricks." Arav stayed with the mason that day, watching and learning. The next day he returned. And the next. He began helping the old man, feeling the weight of the bricks, understanding the patience it took to build something that lasted. As weeks passed, something inside Arav changed. The act of building something tangible gave him a new perspective. He realized that every skill, every effort, every failure was just another brick. He stopped focusing on the grand vision of immediate success and started laying his foundation, one step, one effort at a time. Months later, as he finally landed a job and revived his ambitions, Arav returned to the site. The old mason was gone, but the wall stood tall and strong. Arav picked up a brick, placed it carefully on the unfinished section, and smiled. One brick at a time. And so, he built. As Arav delved deeper into his new job, he realized that the lessons he learned at the construction site applied to every aspect of his life. The first few weeks were tough. He struggled to keep up with the demands of his position. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, he reminded himself to focus on the task at hand, one brick at a time. With patience and effort, he grew into his role. He took the time to learn, absorb, and build his expertise. He befriended colleagues, sought guidance from mentors, and gradually found himself excelling. The confidence that had once been shattered slowly pieced itself back together. One day, Arav was assigned a critical project, a chance to prove himself. The pressure was immense, but he approached it as he had learned. Instead of rushing towards completion, he divided it into small, manageable tasks. Each task was a brick, and with each completed milestone, his project took shape. During a late-night work session, Arav reflected on his journey. He thought of the old mason, the lessons of persistence, and the importance of steady progress. He smiled, realizing that his struggles had been necessary. They had shaped him into who he was now. A few months later, Arav was promoted. He had come a long way from the young man who sat hopelessly in that abandoned construction site. With newfound determination, he continued building, not just his career, but his life, his relationships, and his personal growth. Years later, Arav returned to his hometown, where he had once been filled with dreams and insecurities. As he walked past the familiar streets, he noticed a group of young boys attempting to build a small brick wall. One of them seemed frustrated, throwing his tools down in exasperation. Arav approached him and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Thinking too much won't build anything, son. You need to start laying bricks." The boy looked up, puzzled. Arav smiled. "One brick at a time.